Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Uncover the Hide, and today we're going to be talking about one of the oldest stories ever told, the Epic of Gilgamesh. This story is thousands of years old and has survived all this time. It was written in ancient Mesopotamia around 2000 BC, and it tells the story of King Gilgamesh, who ruled over the city of Uruk, but that's not all. This epic poem also tells the story of his wild adventures with his best friend Enkidu, his journey to find immortality, and his battle against the monstrous Humbaba. But what does the story teach us about life? What can we learn from it? And how did it influence other stories like the story of Noah's Ark? Well, let's find out. Once upon a time in a land far away, there lived a powerful king named Gilgamesh. He ruled over a great city called Uruk with wisdom and strength. But despite all his power and glory, Gilgamesh was not happy. He felt lonely and afraid of death. He had heard stories of an ancient flood that had destroyed the world, and he worried that something similar would happen again. So he decided to find a way to become immortal. He went to see the gods and asked them for help, but they refused to give him the secret of immortality. They said that only a mortal could achieve it, and that he needed to accept his fate. Dejected, he returned to Uruk and threw himself into his work. He built temples and palaces, but nothing made him happy. One day, while walking through the city, he saw a group of young people having fun. They were playing games, singing, and dancing, and Gilgamesh felt left out. He wanted to join them, but he didn't know how. Suddenly, one of the young men approached him and invited him to play a game. Gilgamesh accepted, and soon he was laughing and playing like a child. The young man noticed that Gilgamesh was sad and asked him what was wrong. Gilgamesh hesitated, but then he told him about his search for immortality. The young man listened patiently, and then he gave him a piece of advice. He told him to go to the cedar forest and cut down a sacred cedar tree. This tree was very special because it had been planted by the gods, and its wood was said to be extremely strong and durable. Gilgamesh thought that this was a crazy idea, but he was desperate to find a way to become immortal. So he gathered some friends and went to the forest. When they arrived, they were amazed by the size and beauty of the trees. But cutting down such a sacred tree was not easy. The friends argued and doubted their ability to succeed. But Gilgamesh was determined to do it. He took an axe and started cutting. As he worked, he remembered the young man's advice. He realized that the secret of immortality might lie in accepting his fate and living each day to the fullest. With renewed determination, he continued cutting until finally he brought down the tree. When they returned to the city, the people were amazed by the size and quality of the wood. They celebrated Gilgamesh's bravery and strength. But the gods were furious with him for cutting down the sacred tree. They sent a monster to punish him. The monster was huge, hairy, and very strong. It lived in a nearby mountain and caused terror among the people. The people were afraid and begged Gilgamesh to save them. He accepted the challenge, but he knew that he needed help. He went to find his old friend, Enkidu, who was now a hermit. Enkidu was reluctant to help at first, but when he heard the pleas of the people, he agreed to join Gilgamesh. Together, they went to the mountain to face the monster. The battle was epic. The monster roared and attacked with sharp claws and teeth, but Gilgamesh and Enkidu fought bravely. Finally, after a long and exhausting battle, they managed to defeat the monster. The people were overjoyed and celebrated the victory of the two friends. Gilgamesh and Enkidu returned to the city, but their friendship had been put to the test, and they realized how important it was to have someone by your side during difficult times. One day, Gilgamesh was walking through the city when he saw a funeral procession. A young woman was being buried alive, along with her dead husband. Gilgamesh felt sorry for her and approached the family to offer his condolences. The family was grateful for his support and invited him to a feast in the evening. During the party, Gilgamesh met the woman and was immediately smitten with her. He asked her why she had chosen to die with her husband, and she replied that it was because of love. Gilgamesh was fascinated by her and asked if she would marry him instead. The woman agreed, and soon they were married. But Gilgamesh couldn't stop thinking about his old friend Enkidu. He missed him and wondered how he was doing. One day, he decided to visit him and see how he was. When he arrived, he found Enkidu sick and weak. Enkidu was surprised to see Gilgamesh and asked him what he was doing there. Gilgamesh tried to hide it, but Enkidu soon realized that he was sick. Gilgamesh confessed that he had fallen in love with a woman and had neglected his old friend. Enkidu was hurt by his friend's words, but he forgave him and gave him a piece of advice. He told him not to waste his time with trivial matters and to focus on what really mattered, like spending time with loved ones and enjoying life to the fullest. Enkidu's words made Gilgamesh realize his mistake. He apologized to Enkidu for neglecting him and promised to never do it again. They spent the rest of the day talking and catching up, and Gilgamesh felt renewed and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. However, this is not where the story ends. Gilgamesh and Enkidu became the best of friends again and faced many adventures together. They fought against monsters, discovered magical plants, and traveled to the underworld. Through all these adventures, they learned valuable lessons about friendship, courage, and the meaning of life. Gilgamesh, who was once a selfish and arrogant king, learned the importance of humility and compassion. He realized that true strength comes from helping others and making the world a better place. Enkidu, who was once a wild and untamed man, learned the value of friendship and loyalty. He realized that having someone to rely on makes life easier, and that true strength comes from helping others. So what can we learn from the story of Gilgamesh? First, we learn that it's okay to ask for help. Gilgamesh and Enkidu both had strengths and weaknesses, and they learned to rely on each other to overcome challenges. Second, we learn that friendship is one of the most valuable things in life. The bond between Gilgamesh and Enkidu was unbreakable, and they were always there for each other. Third, we learn that change is inevitable, and we must learn to adapt. Both Gilgamesh and Enkidu went through significant changes throughout the story, and they had to learn to adapt to new circumstances. Finally, we learn that death is a natural part of life, and we should not fear it. Gilgamesh's journey to find immortality was ultimately a journey to find peace with his own mortality. But the story of Gilgamesh didn't end there. In fact, it had a huge impact on other stories and even inspired the story of Noah's Ark. You see, the story goes that after Gilgamesh defeated the monster Humbaba, the gods were so angry that they sent a great flood to destroy the world. Just like in the story of Noah, only a few people and animals were saved from the flood. And afterwards, they repopulated the earth. And that's where our story ends, my little scholars. I hope you enjoyed learning about the amazing story of Gilgamesh and his friend Enkidu. If you want to hear more epic tales like this one, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on any of our future videos. Now go out there and live your best life. And remember, just like Gilgamesh and Enkidu, you are stronger when you face challenges with friends by your side. Until next time, goodbye.